When you're creating a business, it's important to understand what you're going to be offering to them. At the end of the day, the most successful businesses help other individuals, and they create whatever product or service is supposed to help that person, where they feel, I can't live without this product.
Today's guest and hustler is one of the most influential people in the creative space right here in downtown Miami. He is the founder and CEO of HGAB Studios, a place where creatives can come and create art.
Since I was young, I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I think it's important that what we do on a day-to-day basis, we are in love with what we're doing. Me and my team building this business was a lifestyle choice. Didn't feel, and it still doesn't feel like I'm going to work every day. I'm going to a place where I get to hang out with my friends and create cool shit.
Literally.
That's literally it. When I was young, that was always been my goal. I want to hang out with my friends all day, and I want to do cool things. And I was able to marry both of those things
and turn it into a business.
Do what you love, and then figure out how to generate funds off of that. Literally anything. You can make money off anything.
Kendrick, thank you so much for coming on Hustler's Journey.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
So look, man, the way we go about doing things on Hustler's Journey is we have people such as yourselves where you've built a wildly successful business. You are someone that people can look up to, can learn from, and you look like you're an overnight success, right? Which is clearly, we both know, not the case.
Correct.
But walk us through your hustler's journey. Take me all the way back. Who is Kendrick? How did you get started? Tell me the journey.
I started my entrepreneurial career, let's say, when I was very young.
Okay.
My parents were both entrepreneurs, and when they moved from Venezuela to the United States, to Miami, they both opened up their own little businesses or little side hustles to kind of get the ball rolling. And that taught me a lot about business, because I would see my parents on a day-to-day hustling, you know, not just, you know, on what they were doing, but also the back end. Because a lot of people think that, you know, creating a business is just the front end. There's a lot of back end, you know, that you already know. And I started my first business because we lived in a home that had a golf course in the backyard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I would go around the golf course when the golf course would close, and I would pick up golf balls that were like in lakes or in ditches where I knew that I could find golf balls. I would wash them, and then the next day I would sell them back to the golfers.
You're a genius.
After that, my SKUs continued to grow. So it wasn't just golf balls. It was sodas, snacks. And this was all technically illegal, because obviously the golf course had their own vendors and stuff like that. But they didn't see me as a threat, because I was just this kid, 6-year-old kid on a bike trying to hustle. And they loved that. And eventually the golfers started ending up coming to my backyard, and I would sell them the stuff there. That directly. Was super cool.
That's genius.
So that was my first
start
journey as an entrepreneur. From there, I continued to help my parents with their own businesses. My mom owned a restaurant, so I would work with her on the weekends.
What's it called?
It owned it before. It was called Espina. Which in Spanish is called the bones of the fish. You know. And then my dad owned a transportation company where he would transport medical goods throughout South Florida. So I would work with him on the weekdays during the summer, of course.
And then your mom.
And then with my mom on the weekends. And then during school time, I would go to school. So that continued to kind of develop my entrepreneurial skills.
The mindset.
And mindset, of course, which is the most important thing. If we can talk about that, that'd be really awesome. And then I opened up my first business through like a sub business that my dad had as the transportation company. And he let me have my own clients. So his company was growing. He saw that I wanted to really get into it. So he was like, hey, I have this set of offices that need pickups and drop-offs. How would you like to take over that? And that to me meant the world, because I was 16, ready to rock and roll. I already had a car license. Like I was ready. And from there, I continued my journey until we got to this place. And why did I get into the media side of things? YouTube was a big
factor
there because everybody was creating content on YouTube.
Yep.
So it got to a point where I wanted to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Right?
Like everyone else.
Like everybody else.
Yep.
So I picked up a camera, we bought a camera, and we started to create content. At that time, I was traveling with a band.
Okay.
So not only was I following my dreams as a musician, but also at the same time as a YouTuber.
Yep.
And I was documenting everything and slowly but surely learning about the editing side, the content creation side, YouTube business.
Absolutely.
You know,
which is a huge business, and people don't understand that really.
It's massive. Entertainment, right? Like, who doesn't like to be entertained?
Entertainers get paid more than doctors, and if you think about it, it's like, who gets paid the most? It's people who entertain.
Well, yeah, 100%. Well, I feel like as in entertainers, we can entertain 24/7, especially if it's on a platform that you on any given time and day you could just log on and rock and roll.
Yep.
As a doctor, you know, we have
certain
schedules.
Yeah.
You know, even though there's doctors out there that work 12, 18-hour shifts. You know, but I also see that as I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's not a bad lifestyle.
No.
But I'm not trying to work 18 hours a day.
Exactly.
You know,
and you're like tied down to a specific location, and if I'm not proceeding or doing something on a client or a patient, I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm not getting paid.
Exactly. Yeah. As to now, we see so many people creating content on platforms that they can distribute worldwide,
anywhere,
at any time.
Yep.
If I make one video and I try to monetize, like, hey, watch this video and it's going to be $5, I can sell that video 100,000 times.
And that's the thing. It's like, that's lifetime content. So I always talk about content. So you can door knock, you can email, you can only reach a certain amount of people.
Right.
You make one video, it could literally, for the lifetime of that video, always be bringing you something new. Someone new just forever.
And it's new.
Yep.
It's new to the person that is just watching it.
Exactly.
Even if the video is 30 years old.
Yep.
You know, so that's super cool.
Content. Yeah, content's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
So after I got really good at creating videos and taking pictures, I teamed up with the rest of the HGAB founders.
Yeah.
And we all moved into a home together.
Okay.
That was the first time that we moved out of mom and dad's place.
The founder's house. I love it.
The founder's house.
Yep.
And we quickly started to create content for other businesses because they were seeing, hey, this video is super cool. Can you make a video for me? This video is super cool. Can you make a video for me? These pictures are super cool. Can you take these pictures for me? And we started to see that there was something else there. Besides YouTube, there was like the need to create content for other entities that didn't know how to.
Absolutely.
So we started to do that. We opened up a little platform. It was called HGAB, which in the time, and still is now, H stands for human.
Okay.
And Gab is another word for talk or chatter.
Okay. I
so
know that. Yeah.
our whole mantra is we speak human. And that was always the kind of content that I wanted to create for ourselves and for businesses.
Real content.
Real
human
contact.
Beautiful.
Human content.
Literally.
You know?
Yeah.
So it started to go well where we started to acquire clients that were way bigger than we could ever fathom.
Yeah.
And from a little home, we picked up our biggest client, which was Fendi.
Wow.
At the time.
Wow.
And we were shook.
Yeah.
Because they also wanted to have a meeting with us in our studio.
Yeah.
So the most awkward meeting in the entire world for me was bringing
Fendi,
the people from Fendi who came from Italy to our studio, which was a little tiny house in the middle of nowhere, Miami. And for us, that was like a little tipping point,
like wake up moment.
Like, hey, we need to now step it up.
Yep.
So it was funny because at that time we had enough money to rent a home, but we didn't have enough money to rent a home and an office at the same time.
Yeah, so you have to pick one or the other.
We had to pick one or the other, but we got smart. Because in Miami there's an area called Wynwood that was developing 8-10 years ago, and it still is developing. Where it allowed you to work and play, let's say, or work and live. And we found this particular building, which was zoned to live and work. And we ended up renting at the far end of the building a little office area, which in the back we converted into our home.
Wow.
So
you really did get creative. Okay.
We had to, right? Yeah. And we didn't have the funds. We were still working our 9-to-5s at this time as well. So there's 4 of us. There's 4 founders. We were all working our 9-to-5s.
Were you guys like friends? Like, I want to tell me a little bit about the story of those. Yeah.
So we met our co-founder Chris,
Okay.
for example, I've known him since high school.
Okay.
So since I think freshman year of high school, and we were friends throughout the whole time.
Yeah.
Our second co-founder is Biscayne.
Okay.
And I met her at a party that I was throwing.
Okay.
And when I met her, I instantly fell in love with her.
Oh.
Yeah, romantically.
Okay.
Not just as a friend.
Is this still?
So yeah, absolutely. 12 years and counting.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously she was my girlfriend at the time when we were creating content and all this stuff. She is honestly the backbone of our whole entire operations because she handles our day-to-day operations. Okay. And obviously I was like, you have to come on board. Yeah. We're going to start this little content creation company. Yep. You need to come on board. You're already helping us so much. Yep. It would be dumb for us not to bring you in. Yeah. And then our last co-founder is Mariana Diaz. Okay. And believe it or not, I've known her since elementary school, but never friends with her. Okay. So we were just acquaintances, going to the same classes. Yeah. I would always see her and be like, oh my God, that girl's so freaking cool. I want to be her friend. Yeah. But I was like a little nerdy kid. She was like one of the cool kids. And never did it happen until one day I walk into my home, the same home that I said that we all moved into, and she was standing right there. Just because one of our friends had invited her to come over. Okay. And I was like, what are you doing here? Yeah. And we got to talking and all that stuff, and she never left after that.
I love it.
That was when everything kind of just clicked. Yep. So all four of us were like in a zone. Yeah. With locked a mission on a drive. Yeah. And we were like, look, we want to start this little company. Yep. Which we did. Yep. And then eventually got Fendi as a client, and then so on and so forth, and we ended up here.
I love it.
And it just kind of happened by osmosis.
Yeah, it just naturally progressed over time. You just put in the hours and
that's it.
It happened.
And, a lot of people want to start businesses and are scared to get into business with their friends and their family and stuff. Yeah. You do have to be cautious, but at the same time, you have to be realistic and understand that one person can't do everything.
That's true.
That's true. We already had a huge leg up when we had four people. Yep. And each of us, believe it or not, specialize in something. Yep. So that even made us stronger.
A lot. 4 minds come together. It's a lot more powerful than just that one person.
100%. And not just minds, but also income, everything, this, that, and the other.
Exactly. So you can't buy a camera today. I actually have enough funds to buy a camera.
Exactly. Or better credit. Yep. Or this, that, and the other. Yep. So it just makes you like a Power Ranger.
I completely agree. And you're kind of just like married all together. Partnerships or marriages.
That's it. Much. We have a baby, and it's called HGAB.
And you guys are raising it all together.
Exactly. Co-parenting.
Literally co-parenting. Exactly what it is. There's I was like, people always talk about, and you mentioned it, which I really want to touch on, is people don't like to do business with family or friends, but it's like, would I rather do business with a guy that I either grew up with and knew my whole life, or a friend that I've known for 6-7 years, know and trust, or just some random guy I met last year? I don't know where the stigma of don't do family. Obviously, be careful, but family is the best type of people, and friends are the best type of people to do business with.
100%.
Yeah.
Like for me, bad things happen. Yeah. And they happen to anyone. Yeah. It's how you prepare for those bad things. Exactly. If it doesn't work out, do you still see yourself being friends with this person afterwards?
Completely agree.
And if you keep that mentality where it's like, we're going to do business together and whatever happens, I still want to be your friend. Correct. Then I think it takes off that stress. Yeah. So it's very important that, it's okay to be in business with your friends and your family. Completely agree. Just understand that at the end of the day, they were your friends and family before, and it should always stay
that should
friends
be
and
priority.
Family after,
exactly. Completely agree.
And that's why contracts also are a big thing. Yeah.
Oh, I have to have everything right. No matter, that's the thing. That's the one part people mess up on, is when it's friends and family. They don't have the proper writings, whose responsibility,
exactly.
XYZ. Yep.
Exactly. So I'm happy that you touched up on whose responsibility is it to do what.
Exactly.
In a contract with your friend or your family member, it needs to state exactly what that person is supposed to be doing,
completely agree.
What you're supposed to be doing, and that way there's no gray area.
Exactly.
If you're having issues, you go back to the contract and you say, hey,
this is what we decided.
Yep. What's up? Yep. And then communication. Yeah. Communication is key, whether it's happening to you or it's happening to them. Just sit down. Yep. like two normal human beings have communication,
literally,
and figure it out.
Yep. And that's the thing. It's like people are scared to have these awkward or hard conversations. But once you have that hard conversation, whether it's with a girlfriend, family member, friend, it could literally, this big tension and elephant that you guys have could disappear in a 2-minute hard conversation.
That's it. And if you're having a conversation with your friend or your family, it shouldn't be that complicated to just sit down and talk.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be over a boardroom table. It could be over dinner.
Just a casual, hey, let's figure stuff out.
This is how I'm feeling. This is how I think we should proceed. How are you feeling?
Take them
what
to
do you
Moxie's. Think? What's that place?
To
Moxie's, or there's just one restaurant I always get taken to every time I come to Miami. I think it's Moxie's. Open really late till like 3 a.m. Moxie's,
or is it Monty's?
Monty's maybe. But yeah, just somewhere casual.
Just
take them out.
Have some drinks. Get the guard down and just talk it over. That's the best way to do it.
Completely agree. So tell me about, again, obviously we talked about the founders and how you guys came together and opened it up. Tell me about the process of actually starting up a business like HGAB Studios. I mean, you guys have some really influential people that come in here. I see your space. It's beautiful. You guys, because again, I see it. Like you're scheduling, you're online, your coordination, this, that, calling, confirmation. You guys are on it.
Right.
Talk to me about building a business, building processes. Walk me through it.
Cool. So I think when you're creating a business, it's important to understand what you're going to be offering to people. And at the end of the day, the most successful businesses help other individuals, and they create whatever product or service is supposed to help that person. Absolutely. Where they feel, man, I can't live without this product. You know, so when we first opened up our studios, we noticed that the studio industry in Miami hadn't changed. It was still very like, in order to book our space, it needs to be a 4-hour or an 8-hour rental. It comes with a bare, empty space.
You have to bring your own.
You have to bring your own equipment. For every other piece of equipment that you need, we're gonna rent it to you and all this stuff. And eventually, it just created something where only a certain amount of people can use and have access to a studio. And if you eventually did have that access to the studio, it would be so expensive where you don't get to take home, you know, a good amount of money. You know?
Exactly.
So we were like, this is weird. It doesn't have to be like this.
Yeah.
We can provide fully equipped spaces that are up to industry standards for a reasonable price. And we started thinking about the community. We didn't when we opened up our studios, we didn't think, oh my God, we're gonna make so much money off this studio. We were like, no. How do we help the creative community in which we didn't get that help when we needed it? How can we, now that we have the ability to, how can we help these
others
people now?
And the money always follows.
The money always follows.
Always.
You know, if you, it's that saying, like, do what you love and then figure out how to generate funds off of that. Literally anything. You can make money off anything.
I completely agree. The most random things. I don't care. You're into car tires. You're into podcasts, like
pet rocks,
anything. It's especially now with online, like TikToks, YouTube. Like there's a group and an audience for everything.
Right.
Everything. Beards. Right. How to groom your, like there's a million people that will watch.
1,000%. We have beards.
Exactly.
I don't know how many YouTube videos and products I've like. 100%. There's something.
Always.
So it's important that you're serving somebody.
I agree.
And we took a different approach where we were like, no, we're not going to go after the big brands and industry. We're going to go after the creative community, the same community that we are a part of, but didn't have help from anybody else. So let's start to help.
Correct.
So that's what I feel sets our space apart from
everyone else,
every other studio in the area, where they're operating as studios and they're selling time. We're operating as a community building tool.
I believe it.
You know, where it's not just, and studio is just one facet of what we do. We host seminars here for creators that are free, on finances, on building a business, on editing, on shooting, like to help the creative community sharpen their skills and grow. We do events where we bring the community together, networking, so other people can start to work with these other more seasoned players, let's say.
Exactly. Mingle all in together.
We're about to host like a summer barbecue that we host, just to bring the community together. It's just like something to bring the community together.
And just connect.
We partner with different entities like brands like Sony and stuff like that to bring these kinds of like events and to our space and experiences. So yeah, cool. We rent studios, but that's not
just
the end all be all. Exactly.
I love it. So I mean, look, like you guys are absolutely dominating it. Like you guys have an amazing studio. I've been here an hour, and I'm obviously like absolutely fall in love with the space. What your mission is. Tell me a little bit about like the personal side of it. Like how was it, building this business, going through this journey? Talk to me about personal stuff. Like I'm sure you weren't able to have the fun that you're used to having in Miami. I'm sure you're not used to. You lose a lot when you're on this mission, and just talk to me about that personal piece of it.
So, since I was young, I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And I think it's important that what we do on a day-to-day basis, we are in love with what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So me and my team building this business was a lifestyle choice. So it
didn't feel like work.
It didn't feel, and it still doesn't feel like I'm going to work every day. I'm going to a place where I get to hang out with my friends and create cool shit.
Literally.
That's literally it. And from when I was young, that was always been my goal. I want to hang out with my friends all day, and I want to do cool things. And I was able to marry both of those things.
And turn it into a business.
I
love it.
And yeah, that doesn't mean that we didn't have sleepless nights.
Of course.
That doesn't mean that we didn't grind for 18, 20 hours a day. We've cried. We've bled for this place. Like everything that goes into building something from zero. Because we didn't even have funding to open this thing up. We used our 9-to-5 money and our hopes and our dreams and excitement to kind of steamroll this
and get into it.
And a lot of people, that's the mistake that I feel like a lot of people make. They're like, oh, I can't do this because I don't have the money. Oh, I can't do this because I don't have the tools. Oh, I can't do this. It's like, no.
Figure it out. There's always a way.
If you really want to, you will do it no matter what obstacle is in the way.
I completely agree. I think having that mindset is what separates like true successful entrepreneurs to everybody that wants to be an entrepreneur and just waiting on the sidelines. Oh, the perfect this. Oh, when I do this. Oh, when I get that. It's never going to happen. Just go do it.
And we weren't creating this business to be like, oh, we're going to be millionaires and we're going to make money overnight and all this stuff. It's like, no, we did it because we loved it. And we saw the impact that it makes on other people in a positive way. And we're like, I want to keep doing this because it's just so much fun. It's so awesome.
And you love it.
And it generates funds. That's the byproduct of doing something cool.
Completely agree.
And innovating.
And the risk piece of it, like I feel like as an entrepreneur, the most important piece of this is just being able to take risks, like believing and betting on yourself, right? That's the main thing. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about what you guys put on the line to open up the studio right here in downtown Miami.
What we put on the line? Everything. We put our time, which is the most important thing that a human being owns in this time, in this lifetime. Their time. The energy was always there because we were super always excited about doing it. Eventually, all the money that we saved up from our previous jobs and stuff like that, we poured it into the business. But that's something that I feel like is just expendable. Money will come, money will go. But building something that will last a lifetime, or building something that will give you the opportunity to have more time to do more things is super important. That's what I feel like is the most important thing.
I completely agree.
And 8-10 years ago when we first started this business, I was like, look, we're going to bust our ass every single day for God knows how long. But eventually something's going to click and we're going to see that the fruits of the labor.
Absolutely.
Where do we want to work for somebody forever, or do we want to start putting in the effort and the energy now to then eventually see ourselves hiring people and like bringing on a team and like just being the boss that we
wanted to be.
You know, It's super important. And now we employ 16 people. We have 12,000 square feet of a facility in South Florida that not only does the little guy that's never picked up a camera before come and use, but also huge entities like the Mike Tysons of the world, the
Logan Pauls,
the reggaeton artists that live down here that I see walking the halls here, and I'm just like shook.
You're like, whoa.
Every time a big name comes into the door, I just get flashbacks
of just like
of the journey and being like, wow, like look at this, look at what we've created.
I always tell everyone, and I'm a firm believer in this because this is exactly how it happened for me, but I say 3 years of just dedication and hard work will lead to like a lifetime of success and 100%. Respect. Like you work your ass off for 3 years grinding in a specific business, you're locked in one thing, and I genuinely believe you never have to work a 9 to 5 again.
That's it. And I'm happy that you said on that one thing. Right? Because as entrepreneurs, we want to do many things. You know, we see this business and we're like, oh, we can do that. We see this and oh, we can do that. And that's something that we got caught up at the very beginning. That we were able to do everything, but spreading ourselves too thin. So eventually we kind of honed in on what we wanted to do. And it flourished into this.
I love it.
You know?
So talk to me about the process of, because this is something I'm having struggle with myself, is talk to me about the process of finding good people, like employees. I feel like you said, as an entrepreneur, we try to do everything ourselves. I'm literally in that phase where I'm like, if I'm not there, I have to be doing everything. I'm still trying to get out of that path of being a solo entrepreneur and really building a team and a system. Talk to me about the hiring process. Like, how hard is it to find good people? How do you find people? How do you vet them? How do you know they're going to be a good fit for you and your business?
The first thing to finding good people is letting them know exactly what they're going to be walking into.
Okay.
Right? A lot of times we put this facade when we list a job or something. But if you're very clear and intentional as to what the job is, then you weed out the people who have been jaded and thinking, oh, I'm going to do one thing, but they end up doing another thing. So be very clear as to what that job title is and what they're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis.
Makes sense.
That's already a quick way to weave
a decent amount of people.
You know, if the job entails painting studios all day, you know, after every single booking,
tell them that.
You need to tell them that. You know, and you need to be very clear. That way they don't think that they're coming in here to take pictures while they're actually in here to paint after they use the cyclorama walls and stuff like that. So it's very important. In the interview process, it's very hard to know someone in 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
When you're just talking to them. So we like to do a trial run. So after we conduct the interviews, my most important thing when conducting interviews is who the person is. Are they willing to, do you think they're willing to learn something new? I don't care if they don't know what the job or like
what to do.
A skill or something. That could be taught. But it could be taught to somebody that is willing to learn. There's a lot of people that walk in here and they're like, sup? And you're like,
nope, no,
this is a bad energy. You know, so energies are very important. Wanting to learn is very important.
Absolutely.
People who come in here and apply for a job and have already done their research because they simply went onto the website and learned our terms and conditions and things like that. That's huge because you already know that this person is so
committed,
invested and committed into what the job is that they even on their own went onto the site, checked out the studios, the pricing is telling me how much things are or how we do it. And it's like, yes, this is exactly
what I
want.
Mean.
You want leaders. You don't just want people that are going to be like, tell me what's next. You know, there's so many moving parts here that I don't want to sit down and be like, okay, now you have to do this. Now you have to do this. No, like, I want you to be like, okay, I'm going to go clean this or I'm going to do this. I'm going to set this up.
Set up new ideas. Like, absolutely.
Huge. And then once you've already brought those people in, there could be times where it doesn't work out. And that's okay. And weaving out the people that don't work out very fast is also very important.
It's true.
Because you're spending money.
Time.
You're spending time. You know, two of the most important things that a business needs to keep going. So once you see that something's not going to work out,
Yeah.
it's not a personal thing.
Yeah.
It's business.
I completely agree.
I'm really sorry. I don't think this is going to work out.
Yep.
I would love to still invite you to come hang
Yep.
out with us whenever we have events, this
Yep.
and the other. But for this specific role,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to work out.
Makes sense.
And we always leave everybody like, we never burn any bridges.
Of course.
We're all a little family in here
Yep.
at the end of the day.
Yep.
And if you came in and you were excited enough to want to be a
Yeah.
part of this family, then
Yeah.
you're a part of this family for the long run.
Forever. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
whenever we have events, we invite all of our past employees
Yeah.
and this and the other,
Yeah.
and we're all just
It's always
friends.
good vibes. Yeah.
It's always good vibes.
Like you said, it always goes back to you still have that relationship prior to business. Like obviously business is business, but
Yeah.
like you still have that relationship, you still have that courtesy, you still care about people. So I completely agree.
And then once they're in here,
yeah.
company culture is the biggest thing.
Okay, talk to me about that.
I think it's very important that in anyone running and operating a business,
Yeah.
that they make their employees feel comfortable when they come here.
Yep.
You know, nobody. We've probably been in situations
Yeah.
where we don't want to go
Yeah.
to the job.
Oh, yeah.
Just because we're
Like,
just not
yeah,
into it
yeah,
anymore.
great. I got
Or
to deal with him today.
exactly, you
Yeah.
have to deal with the boss or
Yep.
the manager or something, and they're just not making it a good working environment.
Yep.
For us, our customers come first.
Yep.
And then our employees come second.
Okay.
Because you can't have a happy customer
Yep.
if you don't have a happy employee.
That's true.
So even if you're having personal problems
Yeah.
at home,
Yeah.
I don't
Come to
mind.
us. Yeah.
Let's sit down. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it. Let's
Yeah.
figure out ways to deal with
Yeah.
it. You know, things are gonna get better.
Yep.
You're in here to make things better.
Completely agree.
And I also think that this is a stepping stone for something greater.
Yep.
And the only reason why I say that is because I want leaders.
Correct.
And I want people to tell me, hey,
grow.
we could do this better.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I've seen this little sector here that's not being touched.
Yeah.
I would love to lead that.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
even if you're our janitor and you walk up to me
Yeah.
and you tell me that there's a little sector here that
Yeah.
we're not doing and you
Yeah.
want to lead that,
Go for it.
let's go.
Yeah.
Let's sit down. Let's figure out a good plan on
Yeah.
how to make it happen, and let's move forward. This is exactly what I want.
I love it. And again, even just like walking into space, and I didn't even know you were the owner, right? But it was just like good energy when you walk in. It's like, hey, what's going on? You can tell the employees are all happy. Everyone's, oh, he'll get that. You can just feel the energy and the vibes. Like when I walked in, it's like, great. What are these guys gonna say? I came in late. Yeah. So you already can tell certain places where it's like, oh wow, I feel really welcome here. Like these guys are really nice. Like they're great.
That is so important.
Yep.
Right? Why do we go and visit the same restaurant over and
Experience.
over and over?
Yep.
Because the food is great
Yep.
and the customer service is great.
Exactly.
I always tell people anyone can own a studio.
Yep.
With lights and
Yep.
this, that, and the other.
Yep.
But the way that you feel when you walk into our space,
That's everything.
that's proprietary to us.
Completely agree.
And I think that that's what makes us the #1 studio in South Florida.
Love it.
The way that we treat our clients.
I love it. Where do you see the studio going? And like, tell me, like, let's say like the next 5 years. What's the goal? You guys are already killing it. What's next?
I think we've done a really good job in South Florida
Okay.
and building the community and helping the community.
Yeah.
And I want to continue seeing this project and
Yeah.
concept in other major cities
Okay.
where you feel a part of something
Yeah.
when HGAB Studios shows up in New York.
Yep.
You know, and now as content creators, we travel a lot,
Of course.
right? So it would be really cool to have a space in different major cities
Yeah.
that a lot of this work is being done, where you walk in and you feel at home in any one of those spaces.
Absolutely.
So if you're a member of the Miami chapter of
Yeah.
HGAB, let's
Yep,
say,
yep.
then you're a member of the New York chapter of
That's
HGAB.
beautiful.
And then we can help each other that way,
Yep.
you know, and just continuing to build that creative community and feel and give people the tools so they can feel like they
Yeah.
can make it out here.
Yeah.
There's so many people that have told us, and we've been so jaded about the art world, you know, because we're artists.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
we're creatives.
That's all we are.
And a lot of our parents are like, "How are you gonna make money off
Yeah.
taking pictures?"
Yeah. Yeah. Literally.
You know, it's like,
Little do they know.
and little do they know that
Yeah.
this thing has become a billion-dollar industry,
Yep.
and every single person and platform
Yep.
needs content.
So I don't know who I remember saying this, and I completely believe it. The next wave of billionaires are going to be content creators.
Facts. They already are.
100%. They already are. I mean, Alex Hermosi, one of my favorite entrepreneurs, I watched a video of him. It was like, why did you start making content? And he was like, I got really mad when Kylie Jenner made $1 billion before I did, and it's because she had a personal brand and was a content creator.
That's it.
The next day, he started making reels.
Done.
And now look at him.
Yeah.
He's triple X his business just because of his personal brand and the content that he makes.
And it's all about exposure.
Absolutely.
And harnessing a bigger audience.
Absolutely.
The more you're knocking on the door, like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I do. This is my product that I sell. This is the service that I sell. The more business you're going to get and growth.
The more eyeballs you have, the more it's going to turn into dollars.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
it. Right? We need an audience to sell something to that.
Literally.
You know? So
literally. No, okay. So I love it. So talk to me about, like, what does a day-to-day look like? Like, if you're a podcast studio owner, what does a day-to-day look like?
So as the CEO of HGAB, my day-to-day usually starts with a meeting.
Okay.
So we'll have morning meetings with the marketing team, with the content creation team that go hand in hand with the marketing team, with the sales team, and the operations team, right? Because not only with the way things are structured now, we don't just run the studios now. We run the production side of things. And then I have about 2 or 3 different businesses that operate from inside the facility as well.
Makes sense. So like the like you said, like creating the ads and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I run and operate other businesses that have nothing to do with the media. But I still found a home here. You know, we need office spaces for people to work and things like that. So I have a lot of meetings with a lot of people in the mornings. After that, I basically sit down, try to get at least 3 hours of uninterrupted work. And my work usually consists of connecting with people. You know, so I'm talking to these people here, I'm talking to these people here, and just trying to figure everything out and put it all together, hone it all into one place. I'm still a creator at heart. So my main passion has always been video, video shoots. So I will pick up
a camera
every once in a while, or a project. You know, because I do have a vast team, which is very awesome for me. So depending on what the project is, if I think, hey, this could be cool to work on, you know, then I'll pick it up. Whether it be a music video or a commercial shoot or something just out of this world, cool. And we've been lucky enough to work with huge entities like the UFC, Fendi, like I had mentioned, and other bigger brands in that realm. So I want to put my personal name behind some of these projects as well. Absolutely. Because why not? You know,
that's the best way to do it, is just build that personal brand.
It's fun.
You enjoy it. Like you said, it's like, if you want to, you can go pick up a camera, go do these shoots, enjoy it. And I completely agree.
One of my most creative things that I enjoy doing is we have a contract with Live Nation, in which we go and we shoot a lot of the festivals that happen in South Florida. So they've teamed up with another company called Insomniac, which they put together the EDC Las Vegas, EDC Orlando situation, and these music festivals. And I love music. I've always loved music, and I love going to festivals before anything.
So it works out.
So everything just kind of meshed into one where I'm working. Working, but I'm creating content for these entities and these DJs, and I'm meeting people, and it's just so much fun to work on those stuff.
I completely agree. And again, like you said, the people that you meet and the network that you meet. So my biggest thing, and again, the reason why I even have Hustler's Journey, is just the network that you build. It's just like networking, in my opinion, is probably one of the biggest pieces in the entrepreneurial world, like ever. Doesn't matter what I know. If you know more people than me, you have a better network than me, you're going to win. So talk to me about the power of networking, especially in a place like Miami, where it's like so many hustlers and so many entrepreneurs.
I mean, the saying is true, right? Network, net worth.
Absolutely.
If you own a business that's selling a service to somebody, knowing people is important.
Absolutely.
Because those people that will then
tell other people.
And then those people will tell other people, and so on and so forth.
Correct.
It's probably one of the most unutilized tools that we have.
Correct.
And that is completely free. The fact that we can go into a coffee shop or an event or somebody and just be like, hey, my name is Kendrick. I do this. Nice to meet you. And then you never know. I've met some of the coolest people just sitting on an airplane. And they sit next to me, and I just start talking to them, and it's just like the founder of this
insane person.
It's like, what? You know?
And people are, and this is, again, it goes back to just people in general, just being afraid of just like public speaking or just like social interactions. But I commit myself anytime I'm in the elevator with someone, anytime I'm sitting next to someone in line, hey,
what's up?
Literally.
That's it.
And you would be 9 out of 10 times I get a good response. Obviously, there's a few times where it's like, whatever. 9 out of 10 times, it's always a great response. Leads to a conversation. What's your Insta before you leave? Get out there Insta.
Done.
Next thing you know, I'm freaking in Miami doing a podcast with you. You know what I mean?
It pays to be the golden retriever
Absolutely.
of the group.
Absolutely.
You know, our co-founders, that's what they call me, the golden retriever. Yep. We'll send Kendrick out, and he'll talk to everybody.
Yep.
And I'm not afraid.
What's the worst that can happen? You think about it. Genuinely, if there's a guy in an elevator standing there, he's wearing a nice suit, you're wondering what he does. You asking him, what do you do for a living? You either get something out of it or you're back in the same position where you never asked him.
Exactly.
Anything. So it's like, what's there to lose?
I've also created this thing in my head where I love to make myself feel uncomfortable.
Exactly.
I love awkward moments.
I enjoy it. I
thrive off that. When the more awkward, the better, because it's like, wow, I feel alive.
Yeah.
You know, something happened where it didn't go the way that I planned it, but I feel super awkward. I feel alive.
I completely agree.
It's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool to just if a guy in a suit walks into the elevator, the first thing I'd be like,
nice suit.
That's a nice suit.
Exactly.
You know, and it's true. It's like, dude, you look nice. Like, what do you do?
Literally. And that's like, you're already starting it off on such a nice note, on a good note. What's he going to say? No, thank you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then in my mind, like, let's say I'll do that and they're not really responsive or whatever. When I walk out, I'm like, okay, I'll go fuck myself.
No, literally.
Like, I'll just make fun of myself.
Just enjoy it. Like, what's like, you know what I mean? Just like, some people take life too seriously. Like, it's just enjoy it. Like,
it's just have fun.
Just have fun.
You know?
Literally. It's like the most, it's like, oh, like, you know, it's just make jokes, make sarcastic jokes, just have fun. Like,
but network. Talk to people. Just talk to people. You just never know.
Some of the biggest guys in Washington, D.C., from politicians to the biggest developers, these guys that I met when I was literally like 19 years old, just because of the connection, the network that I have with them, they've opened so many doors for me just because they know me, they've talked to me. Mm-hmm. And when people, like, again, they see your hustle, they see your journey, and they see that you're a person that's like out here networking, doing stuff, everyone wants to help you.
Yeah, because they're like, damn.
Yeah.
This person was able to do something.
Correct.
I want to be a part of that now.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
Every once in a while, I'll have like friends that I haven't spoken to in years post on a story. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm so proud to see my boy Ken from elementary school doing this. Yeah. And it'll just pop up randomly. And I'm like, wow. There's people out there watching and they're excited for you and they're rooting for you. Absolutely. Even if you've never spoken to them in a long time, they're out there, they're rooting for you.
You inspire more people than you actually think.
Yeah, 100%.
Way more people than you think. And again, to you might be normal. It's like, oh, I'm just running a business, I'm doing my regular. But to a lot of people, they're like, wow, like Kendrick is someone that I look up to and I respect. And again, obviously, there's the bad side of it where people, obviously, there's envy and like jealousy, and some people don't like it. But
I want to talk about that, actually.
Let's touch on that. That's huge.
Everybody always talks about the haters.
Yeah.
And if I could be honest with you, I've never met a single hater in my entire life.
Okay.
And even if I did, they've probably gone so over my head that I don't even see it.
Because you'll never meet a hater that's doing better than you.
I don't see that. I don't see that animosity. I don't see that, you know, somebody could literally open a studio right next to me. Yeah. And I will walk over there and I'd be like, "What's up?
Congrats."
Yeah. What are you guys doing here? Yeah. Oh, hey, if you have any questions, let me know. I've been doing this for so long. Yep. Like, for me, it's not competition. For me, it's like continuing to work on our bigger mission, which is helping the creative community.
Absolutely. And that's why you're gonna grow more than anyone. That line right there is literally why you guys are the best and gonna keep being the best, is because you're genuinely just here to help people. You're not here like, oh shit, I'm gonna make $1 less because this guy opened up next to me.
No, now I get to innovate something else. Then,
like, oh, what do I need to do now?
Yeah,
step it up.
Or how do we partner?
Yep.
You know, I have 4 studios. You just opened 3 more.
Yep.
What can we do to help each other out?
Yep.
Like, there's no competition. It's just business. And there's in a place like Miami. Yeah. There's always business. Always. There's always money flowing into Miami.
There's money everywhere.
Dude, it's insane.
It's like now, like obviously, like we're in this situation where like you just see the dollars everywhere you go. It's like, oh, like I wonder how he's making money off that. I wonder, but like I feel like when you're first starting out, it's like, oh, how do I make 5K a month, 10K a month, 20? It's like it seems so out of reach and so impossible. But then once you really just start and just there's so much money to be made.
Dude, the ball just starts to roll.
Yep.
And if you're doing it well, right? Yep. Because anybody could have all the money in the world to start a studio and this and the other, but they fail to focus on the customer, let's say, because they're so like concerned about making the bottom line and making the investors money and stuff like that. It's like we started in such a natural form. We've never taken on an investment. The biggest loan we ever took was the PPP, which helped us out tons, tremendously. But then at the same time, COVID helped us because as the bigger studios were closing, the ones that hadn't innovated were still charging $200, $300 an hour for just a room. They died.
What are your rates like right now?
Our most affordable studio, fully equipped, and we use state-of-the-art gear. Like, for example, for photographers, Pro Photo is one of the highest brands that we can use for lighting. Is $50 an hour.
Wow.
Fully equipped studio.
I'm going to check it out once.
Our second most affordable studio is this one that we're sitting in now. We have 4 microphones set up, 3 cameras set up, the ability to put your logo and change your branding, colors and all that good stuff. $60 an hour.
That's beautiful.
We're not trying to break the bank for these creators. We're trying to give them tools so they can continue to create.
And make what they want. And I remember when I was, and the way I found you guys, by the way, it was word by mouth. I literally, I was like, oh, shit, I need a studio. I was like, first I was going to have my whole team come out and like set up at their space. I was like, I just need a studio that can do this. And I went on Google and I was like, let me set up my boy. I have a boy in Miami. I'm like, yo, I need a good podcast studio that's like available. No, he's like, these guys are the best. Check them out.
Done.
Literally, exactly. These guys are the best. Check them out.
What's your friend's name?
Tony. Yeah. I don't know if you know him personally, but I guess he uses your space a decent amount. And I literally went on the website right there and then. Prices looked good. It looked like you guys knew what you were doing. I just booked. It was so simple. Boom. Your people followed up with me the next day like, hey, just confirming. We need X, Y, Z. I was like, this is beautiful.
That's it.
You
know, and again, you're not breaking the bank. Nope. We are still operating at a high level.
What kind of cameras and mics? Like I know you guys, this is Podster mic. Like these are still high end things.
Correct.
For
so
$60.
We don't have to kill people for these things. You know, the way that we were able to do it is we financed a lot of this stuff. So even the initial investment doesn't have to be that crazy. If you learn a little bit about how money works, you're able to make these things happen.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know how money works, then talk to your friends.
Literally.
Talk to somebody that does. Go on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Go on Google.
YouTube University. Genuinely. Like there's everything you could possibly need on there.
One of the coolest things that I think that we've ever done where it's like, how are we going to get this to happen is, and I always like to tell this story because it's all about using a little bit of brain power. Right? So contracts. Contracts in our industry are very important. When you're creating content for a company, especially big entities, you need good contracts that are going to save you down the road if something happens, or is going to save your client down the road if something happens.
Absolutely.
Writing up contracts is super expensive. Right? You're talking about $200-$300 an hour for a lawyer to sit down and write a contract for you. So when we were starting off, what did we do? We still need. No, I wish we had ChatGPT. No, now ChatGPT that we've integrated that into our business heavy too. But I'm talking about 8-10 years ago when we needed contracts and we didn't have the money for lawyers. I was like, who teaches lawyers how to write contracts? The universities. The universities have amazing law programs that also give the students the ability to work one-on-one with companies, with people that need these services so they can continue to learn and grow.
Absolutely.
So I went straight to the law schools of our near universities, which was FIU, Florida International University, and University of Miami. I went to both law schools and I was like, hey, I am a small business. I need contracts, this and the other. Dude, for all of our contracts at the beginning of our business, it was about 15 different contracts, including our founders' contracts.
Yep.
I paid $35.
That's insane.
And I had the University of Miami and Florida International University draft me up these contracts. These contracts are then reviewed by the teachers and the lawyers that are teaching these people how to write these contracts. $35.
That's insane. See, that's the power of just like using your resources, thinking outside the box.
That's
like
it.
Some people will be like, oh, I need $15K for a lawyer for all my services. Let me wait 5 years before I start, before I can save up $15K. No, figure it out.
Like, what do you have? Like,
what do you have?
Like, and that just came to me out of like thin air. I was like, there has to be something out there. And the next other thing that I was gonna try to do was, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
The next other thing that I was going to try to do was maybe find like an organization that would help fund the contracts or something. So if this door isn't open, you go to the next door, and then you go to the next door, and you go to the next door, and figure it out.
Figure it out. I love it. So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about your personal life. Like, you have your girl. She's also one of the founders, which honestly for me sounds like heavens, having your women and also just having her be party. Like, that's like the best of both worlds, in my opinion. It's like the best partnership relationship. Right. Talk to me about just like life, health, journey. Like, what do you focus on? Are you a big gym guy? I can see you look fit, you look healthy. Talk to me about like the process of just taking care of your personal life while also running a business.
My mindset has always been keep it simple.
Okay.
Keep it simple. Keep your life simple.
Okay.
If you're trying to do big things and you're working with little to nothing, you have to keep it simple first and then slowly but surely progress.
Okay.
Right? So after living here with all the founders, so 4 of us living inside the studio for 5 years while we had the thing up and running, we always obviously set goals for ourselves financially. You never want to try to live above your means, especially if you're building something from nothing.
Absolutely.
You get really savvy when it comes to money management. That's the biggest other thing for any entrepreneurs. Like, manage and budget your money.
Absolutely.
And then we were like, all right, we want to move out. We finally have the ability to move out. So continuing to keep things simple. We moved out to a high rise here in Midtown. I walk to work every single day.
Okay.
So I own a vehicle.
Yeah.
But in Miami, if you live in Miami, you know that the traffic here is insane.
Yeah.
So
I see it, man. It's ridiculous.
Commuting, something that will take you 10, 15 minutes can easily take you 45.
It's insane.
So we chose a place to live close by to the business, so we can walk to the business every single day. So my commute is super chill. I really enjoy taking care of myself. So going to the gym at least 5 times a week is my release from things. And I love it. Eating healthy has always been a thing for me as well. So, just trying to keep it simple.
Absolutely.
I currently live with my fiance.
Okay. Congrats.
Thank you. And then Chris, which is our other founder.
Okay.
And with his girlfriend as well.
Okay.
Beautiful. So we were able to minimize the expense.
Exactly.
Right? Because not only do I work with these people every single day, I live with them. These are my family members. My chosen family.
Absolutely.
And if I can live with somebody and it has to be a roommate, obviously my fiance and then my best friend that I've known for forever.
Absolutely.
We live in a beautiful high rise where we see the city.
Absolutely.
And we keep our expenses low because we
are together. That is such a huge piece because right now there's this concept of everyone just has like family members aren't coming together, friends aren't coming together to build resources together to grow even faster.
Dude.
They're not sharing cars, they're not sharing houses. Like everyone has to have separate. Dude. If you come together, you could literally, like you said, have really nice penthouse in downtown Miami, nice cars, nice everything.
For the low,
low.
I'm talking about for the low.
For the low.
Like,
exactly.
and that's something that gets underutilized. Like,
absolutely.
I don't have kids. Right? But maybe it would be a different situation if I did.
Of course.
Right? But because I don't have kids, and again, personal choice, personal preference, I'm able to do live with my partners, live with my friends, and keep the expenses down on everything, on utilities, the rent, the food, literally everything. We have a cleaning lady.
Takes care of the place.
You know, doesn't cost us anything. Like, obviously something, but like, not what one individual would normally spend if they were living by themselves. In a high rise in Miami.
Completely agree.
You know, because again, it's all about using those resources, and it's not a poor man's mindset.
It's not.
It's a smart man's mindset.
It is, and it's pretty common in like Arab cultures or like even in like Ethiopian. That's normal. That's common. But it's like just here in the U.S. for some reason. You
know what I do with the rest of the funds that I don't have to spend every single day? I invest. I bring them back into my businesses. Absolutely. I invest in other things. We travel. We travel so much throughout the year. You know, like we utilize those funds that we would just be squandering because we don't want to live with somebody else.
Exactly.
You know, I have so many friends, and I'm like, dude, find a roommate. Oh no, is that this person is like, but find the right roommate. You know, it's not gonna, maybe it doesn't happen the first time around or the second time around, but you'll find somebody that you can mesh with.
I completely agree. And again, like, it's not about the money. It's just about what could you be doing with that money instead. It's like you said, like, would I really rather pay, let's say $12K a month for a really nice penthouse in downtown Miami, or would I pay $7K a month, split that or whatever it is, and then use the other $7K to build a business, travel? Like, go travel. What are you gonna do in this one same condo?
Easy.
24 hours, 12 months a year.
And where you shop is important. How you shop, again, budgeting. Like, I always say, it starts and it ends in your bank account.
I completely agree.
With whatever it is that you want to do. So if you're the money that, and it's not how much money you make. It's what you do with the money that you make. So if you're getting paid minimum wage right now and you're trying to do big things, I would recommend starting to set budgets for yourselves. Better money management, understand how money works realistically in a bigger scale. Just because you make $12 an hour doesn't mean that in 2-3 years you're not making $100,000 a year or more. Easily. You could make millions of dollars overnight as long as you know how it works and what to do with it.
Absolutely.
People that win the lottery, most likely it's gone. It's like, how do you get that opportunity in life and then just squander it? Because they don't practice good money management skills. Completely. So they win the lottery and then 2 days later it's gone.
And that's the main thing. It's like financial literacy, and that's. So, give you background, I used to be on the Baltimore County Board of Education, so I was part of that. So, even backtrack, so I'm also immigrant. I moved here actually like 5-6 years ago. So I'm like fresh off the boat.
Wow.
I moved here from Ethiopia, went to high school here in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was going to high school, and for me it was like, wow, like from a third world country coming here, we had iPads. I was like, we're learning on an iPad. So for me, it was like insane. Like, it was great. The education system was amazing. So that's when like I really wanted to advocate and just like really be up there on the platform where I saw other students, like they were called ESOL students. So I was an ESOL.
Oh, ESOL. Yeah, I was an ESOL student too.
So like we weren't getting the same level of services, or like they weren't as involved in extracurricular activities, sports. I was like, okay, like there's something off here.
Yeah, there's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect, and that's when like pushed me when there was a role for the Baltimore County. Like you were the student board member. I pushed for it. I ran for it. I ended up winning, and that's what I was advocating for. So for me, it's like there's a huge piece in the education sector where they're not teaching us life, like genuine life. Like I'm like, why are we not being taught about credit? Why are we not being taught about like literally credit? First of all, the most important thing, like you need that for anything. You want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to start a bit. Credit. Why aren't we learning about just like finances? Like what's a mortgage? Like people don't understand that when they're, what's debt? Like, you know what I mean? Just like the very
good debt, bad
debt. Like people are coming in getting, 80, 100, 200K worth of debt for college, but in the moment they don't realize what they're doing. And then now, like 5 years later, like, what the?
I'm stuck in this prison that I can't get out.
And that's what it is. You're trapped in this hole.
It's crazy.
And they want you there because now, no matter what, you can't leave anywhere because you got to make it. It's a whole thing, and we can get into it, and it'll be a whole thing.
Dude,
but
we could talk about that for hours.
So it's just like education system is a huge missing piece, and that's why like Hustler's Journey and stuff like this, and the online content creator world of I'm the entrepreneur finance side. I think that's why it's so huge, because you're like, there's such a misinformation. There's such a gap.
Yeah.
And you could really change people's lives by, again, knowing how to manage your money. Fine. It's not about how much money you make. It's what you do with it, how you keep it. Taxes. Taxes is literally your biggest expense. Taxes, when I was making less than $80K a year, I paid more in taxes than what I pay now.
Yeah.
So it's like,
because you didn't know.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know all the loopholes. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. So again, like when I'm 21. I'm fairly young. So
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So moved here from Ethiopia. Was on the Baltimore County Board of Ed. I was going to college to be a doctor because that's all we knew, right? An immigrant, it's doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Right.
Nothing else.
That's what mom and dad wants. That's all, no matter what.
There's no other option.
Yeah.
So I was head down, school. You know, I didn't really have this entrepreneurial mindset. The very first mentor of mine, who actually was our biggest sponsor for the Board of Ed, like millions of dollars a year, and this guy didn't even go to college.
Yeah.
And his name was Tim. He owned Zest Social Media Solutions, a media marketing agency.
Boom.
And he saw me speak at an event, and he was like, "Hey, I would love to have you come over to the office one time, just like talk." And this guy ended up being my mentor, still is to this day.
That's amazing.
And he was the first person like, "So what's your goal? Like, what are you trying to do?" I was like, "I just genuinely want to put my parents back in a position to where they're like good." He was like, "Okay, why do you think being a doctor is the only way to do that?" I was like, "I don't know. You make
money.
50K to it. Yeah. Like, what's the kind of question that you're a doctor? Like,
yeah, exactly. You're a doctor.
Yeah. So he was like, okay. And he literally just pulled up like a pay stub. It's just like showed me like that's how much one of my people made this month. I was like, what do you guys do?
Yeah.
I was
Is he a doctor?
I was mind. I was like, there's no way someone made that much money in 1 month.
Right.
And that's when he like really just opened me up into like the entrepreneur. He's like, look, like if you want to be a doctor, but really just know there's other options and other ways of making money. So I was still going to George Washington University in D.C. to be a doctor, pre-med student. And I was sitting in my dorm room. It was just COVID as well, 2020.
Wow.
And I was sitting there like a biochem class. I was like, what am I doing here? Like I literally sat there. I was like, this is not
I hate this.
I hate this. And then I was thinking about the math. It's like, okay, like if I go to school for 8 years, I'm in debt for this much. Mm-hmm. By the time I really start making money, like my family's old. Like this is going to be like, I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like my goal was to take them out of that and put them in a good status. And how am I going to do that when it's like 10 years from now?
Yeah.
So I was like, there has to be a better way. And I was literally watching an Instagram reel. And it was a real estate agent breaking down how much money he made on a single deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is bullshit. This is no way this is real.
Right.
And I literally just searched up like best real estate firm near me. And this goes to just like figuring out a way, right? It's like I searched up best real estate firm near me. And the number one broker in the Washington, D.C. area, number one developer. Like this guy's a multi-millionaire, very well respected. His name is Samar Qureshi. If you look him up, he comes up as like the biggest broker in DC. And I just clicked on his profile, clicked on his company's website. It was called the One Street Company. And I just went, he seemed like a really cool dude. Also an immigrant Palestinian guy.
Okay.
And I literally just emailed him and I was like, hey, my name is Omer. I'm a freshman at GW. I know nothing about real estate, but I would love the chance to come and work for you for free. I'll grab you coffee. I'll drive you around. I'll do your social media, whatever you need. I would just love a chance to come work for you for free. And he ended up emailing me back an hour later, which I was really surprised, which again goes to just like reach out to people, connect with people, will respond, especially when it's like guys like you and the people that are just like up on a higher level. They want to help. They genuine, like you said, like, if a studio came down next door, you would literally go down and say, how can I help?
Yeah.
Literally.
Like that's it.
So he replied back to me. He's like, hey, no one's emailed like this before. Come on down. Let's talk. I would love to talk with you. And I went to his office the next day, downtown D.C., a huge building. Like a secretary goes, can I help you? I'm like, oh, I'm here to see Stan. And he didn't show up till like 11 a.m. I was there at 9 a.m. The assistant's like, are you sure you want to wait? I was like, yeah, I'll just wait. Finally comes. I introduce myself. He's like, who are you? I'm like, oh, I'm the kid that emailed. She's like, I didn't think you were going to come. I have nothing planned for you, but if you want to hang out with me, sure thing. So for me, I'm hanging out with this multi-millionaire, runs a 7-figure business, and I'm just watching. It's gonna get 1 million emails, 1 million calls, 1 million texts, and he's just helping people. He's helping people get in homes. He's taking care of people. And at the time, I didn't understand.
He's a connector.
He's a connector, but he was taking care of people that were renting a $2,000 house or a $2 million listing, taking care of people the same
way.
He did not care. He literally answered every phone call, every email.
Opportunity.
And at the same time, he was making a lot of money. So I was like, this guy is helping people with one of the biggest pieces, housing, and he's also making a shit ton of money while doing it. And after spending that day with him, I was like, that's it. This is what I want to do. This is it. and I completely committed to it. And for the next 9 months, I didn't go to classes. I interned for him for 9 months straight. I ended up doing his social media. Actually, I was growing his Instagram, his TikTok. We grew his TikTok 40K followers. Oh my God. He's blowing up his business page, One Street Company. We blew that up to like 10K followers, get really traction. Like, we became this young, hip, innovative real estate company in DC with great content. And again, that was just me doing it on the side. But now that I'm thinking about it, that Social Media Solutions, my very first mentor / internship, taught me that little social media piece, which I didn't put together at the time. There you go. That was a huge piece. And then I started creating content of dating life as a real estate intern. My TikTok, my following started going really big. 9 months into it, he was like, Omar, I really think you should get a real estate license. So at this time, I think I'm 18 and a half.
Okay.
And you see me right now, I have curly hair, but before I had hair like this.
Oh, yeah?
Like, it was huge. It was insane. It's
cool.
Like, just a completely different kid. And he was like, I think you should get your license and, start selling real estate. I think you'd be really good at it. And I was like, okay. I got my license, and in my head, I'm like, who the hell is going to buy a house from an 18-year-old?
Yeah, with a huge,
curly hair. Like, and I just looked so young. I was like, there's no way. But I got it. I trusted him. He was like, do it. And 2 weeks later, and this was during the crazy COVID market. I'm sure you guys had this here in the real estate world too. 2 weeks later, he had my first client. 5 days later, I had a fucking client under contract.
Done.
And 14 days later, it was a fast close. 14 days later, I had a 5K check in my pocket.
Wow.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I just did, but I was like, this can't be real.
While not working 20 hours a day I was like, as a doctor. Like,
exactly. And
not that being a doctor is bad.
No, absolutely not.
If you enjoy healing people and helping people in that manner, that's why you should be a doctor.
Absolutely.
Not because you're going to think that you're going to make
a lot of money.
A bunch of money.
Completely agree. If you are passionate about it and you love it, absolutely do it.
Yes.
If you think that's the way to make money and be successful,
don't do it.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's not, the burden and what you go through is just not worth it. By the time you get at it, we'll talk about the finances.
No, I know. I have friends that are doctors that look at me and my lifestyle and they're like, I fucked up.
Literally.
Like, Ken, how do you do this? Exactly. How do you manage this? And I'm like, and they're like, I'm at the hospital 18 hours, dude.
Yep.
I haven't slept. Yep. I have tons of bills. Like,
and you're at a hospital. And again, it's the people that love it. There's like, I would never do anything else.
100%.
So it's like, okay, for them, it's killing.
If you want to heal people and you love helping people in that manner, yes.
Yep.
Because you don't care that you're there for 18 hours. Exactly. You love that.
Exactly.
Right? But if you're there just because you think you're going to make some money, I always tell people, like, OnlyFans, for example. Miami is the mecca of OnlyFans models. Yep. And there's girls that walk up to me or like talk to me and they're like, Ken, do you think I should do OnlyFans and this and the other? And I'm like, why do you want to do OnlyFans? Yeah. And it's like, oh, because I want to make money. Yeah. And I was like, there's 1,001 ways to make money. Yep. And the same amount of money that you'll make during making OnlyFans.
Absolutely.
If that's the reason why you want to do OnlyFans, then no.
Don't do it. If you want to do OnlyFans. Yeah. But if
you enjoy entertaining people and using yourself to entertain people, go for it. That's what you love to do.
Absolutely.
But if you're there just because you're going to make money and then later on regret it, then it's not the place.
There's so many other ways to make money. So it's again, like you said, whether it's being a doctor or whether it's doing OnlyFans, whatever it is, if it's what you love and what you want to do.
And that's why we don't go to work.
Exactly.
That's why we live our lives.
We're not working.
We're just hanging out with our friends, doing cool things.
Exactly. So that's good. So just going through it, it's like you get this fight. And after that, and again, I was 18 at the time, literally curly hair. I ended up, this was in March. I think by December, I had like $5 million in sales. Wow. And I was like 18 years old. No one knew my age. I was obviously just.
Yeah.
Because I knew what I was talking about.
Did you still have the hair?
Yeah, I did still have the hair. Okay. But it was that literally that 9 months of interning. And this goes back to my point of like, you need to have a mentor. Like that's what I'm getting at is like having someone that's doing what you want to do and already at that level and that can teach you will fast track your success 20x, not 20x. So for me, it's like end of that year, I had 4 million in sales. And then my first full year was 2021. I had like 13 million in sales at the time. And now this year, I think we're at like almost like 18 million, 20 million in sales, which is like top 1% of agents in my area. I got 40 under 40 and I'm 21. And so people think I'm a lot older.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Man.
So it's like, as long as you have a mentor, you're not scared to reach out to people and you commit 3 years. That's why I always say that 3-year mark, literally 18, 19, 20, 21 now, 4 years. But that 3-year mark, if you commit to something completely, you're going to be a completely different person.
100%.
Completely different 100%. Person.
And if you don't have the ability to have a personal mentor one-on-one, the internet, man.
Internet.
Like, I didn't have a personal mentor, but I've learned so much from these gurus and stuff. Like, obviously, there's a lot of stuff on the internet you need to kind of take, you know, with your own grain of salt.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
there's a lot of fake gurus. That's the problem now. That is a problem.
But find gurus that are legit. Yeah. You know, it's very easy.
You can really tell.
Yeah. Or Wikipedia. Like, look at these people's backgrounds. Like Warren Buffett. Who's gonna tell Warren Buffett that he's not a real like?
Even real estate. Like, there's so many fake like real estate gurus, whatever. But then, like, I literally go, I'm like, look people names up on Google. Like, if you look up, especially, like, let's say they're a real estate agent or a real estate broker, they're claiming to be these, there's so many of them on TikTok and Instagram.
Right.
You can see everyone's sales. Like, you can, if you search up Omer Rashid right now, you can pull up all my past sales. Amazing. Everything up. So it's like, you can find people who are legit.
There's a ledger.
Yeah, you can find it. So I completely agree. Online mentors, if you can find an in-person, real person.
Yeah, that's nice.
So yeah, again, so the hustler's journey, again, this is what it's about, right? Just growing, connecting, networking, and then just showing people that they can do it too, right? That's why we bring you guys on, the hustlers, showing them your journey, your story. Last piece of advice for all the listeners. As a hustler, if there's something that you could go back and know day one, give us a couple pieces of advice.
If there's something that I could know day one, it takes time.
Okay.
Everything good takes time.
Yeah.
There's stories of overnight success, but those are very slim.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times don't have a foundation.
And they don't last.
Yep. So take your time to build a good, strong foundation.
Yep.
And then work from there.
Completely agree. And this is a question that I ask all my guests before we end it off. Tell me 3 other hustlers, whether it's Miami, Florida, and anywhere in Florida, Argentina, Spain, it doesn't matter. We go all over it. 3 hustlers where you're like, these are people that I really think that their hustler's journey would impact our viewers and you want me to have on the show.
I mean, the 3 people that come to mind are going to be my 3 co-founders.
Okay. Give me their names. Those are the next on the list.
Yeah, it would be Biscayne Boeck,
okay,
Chris Vivas,
okay,
and Mariana Diaz.
We're coming for you guys. No, and Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
You guys have an amazing space. You're an amazing person. I love your story. I love your hustle, and I feel like this is going to impact a lot of people, especially in the creative space, in the creative world. What's some place that people can reach out to you? Give me some social handles.
Perfect. So you guys can find me on Instagram at Kendrick V, or follow our studio page at HGAB_Studios. You can also send me an email. I love to talk to people and help people. So it would be Kendrick@HGABstudios.com.
Kendrick, thank you so much for coming on the Hustler Journey. And we can't wait to have your co-founders on here next.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. And we can't wait to see you guys on the next episode of The Hustler's Journey. Thank you.